In today's story, a woman discovers that her husband has rented a second apartment for a private life he has hidden from everyone. Before we begin, settle in and enjoy tonight's story. My husband rented a secret apartment for his other life. The electricity company thanked me for activating service at an apartment I had never seen. The email arrived while I was sitting beside my husband on the couch. We had been married for 7 years. We owned a 3-bedroom house, shared 2 bank accounts, and had spent most of that Sunday discussing whether we could afford to replace the kitchen cabinets. The message was addressed to my husband, Adrian, but it had been copied to the household email account we used for utilities and insurance. Service address, 44 Mercer Street, apartment 6B. Activation date, 11 months earlier. I read the address twice. Then I turned the laptop toward him. "What is this?" Adrian glanced at the screen. His reaction was small. His shoulders tightened, and he stopped moving his thumb across his phone. "That must be for the Mercer project." Adrian worked as a commercial interior designer. He sometimes coordinated temporary power for vacant offices and retail units. "What project?" "The studio conversion." "You never mentioned a studio conversion." "I mentioned dozens of projects." The email was not addressed to his company. It used his full name, his personal phone number, and our joint debit card. I clicked the account details. The monthly payments had been leaving our household account under the shortened description Mercer UTIL. They averaged $112. I had assumed they were part of the storage unit fees Adrian paid for work samples. "Why is our card paying the electricity?" He took the laptop from me. "I must have used the wrong card." "For 11 months, he closed the account page. "I'll correct it tomorrow." I asked whether he had a key. He looked at me. That was when I knew the apartment was not a client property. I had not accused him of renting it. I had only asked about a key. He said, "There is a lockbox for contractors." That wasn't my question. Adrian stood and carried his glass into the kitchen. He began rinsing it, although it was already empty. I followed him. "Do you rent an apartment on Mercer Street?" "No." "Then why is the electricity in your name?" "I told you, it's connected to work." "Show me the project file." He turned off the tap. "You are making this strange." "It is strange." He said the office was closed and he would find the documents in the morning. I asked him to call his project manager. He laughed once. "I'm not calling someone on Sunday night because you misunderstood a utility email." I said I would call the electricity company myself. His expression changed, not anger, fear. Then he said there is a space. The phrase was carefully chosen, not apartment, not home, a space. He said he had rented it as a private studio where he could work without interruption. Our house already had an office. His company also had a design studio 20 minutes away. What kind of work requires a bed? The utility account listed the property as residential. Adrian did not answer immediately. Then he said he occasionally stayed there after late events in the city. I asked how often. He said perhaps once a month. I asked why he had never mentioned it. He said he knew I would consider it wasteful. "How much is the rent?" "Not much." "How much?" $1,400. For 11 months, my husband had spent more than $15,000 renting an apartment he had concealed from me. That did not include utilities, furniture, or whatever else was inside it. Our kitchen cabinets suddenly seemed irrelevant. I asked whether another woman lived there. "No." "Does another woman visit?" "No." "Does anyone visit?" He put both hands on the counter. "Sometimes." That was the first honest answer. The electricity company emailed my husband about an apartment I had never seen. He claimed it was connected to work, but the account used his personal number and our joint debit card. When I asked whether he had a key, his face changed. I had not accused him of renting it. I had only asked about a key. I did not sleep that night. Adrian moved to the guest room after telling me I was too upset to have a rational conversation. At 6 the next morning, I downloaded a year of statements from our joint accounts. The rent had not been paid under the landlord's name. It went to a company called Mercer Creative Holdings. Each payment was $1,200. Adrian had lied about the amount in both directions. The base rent was lower than he claimed, but other charges made the apartment much more expensive. There were regular payments to a private cleaning company, furniture deliveries, a monthly storage service. Several purchases from costume and theatrical suppliers, charges from event ticket platforms, 2 different phone bills. The total was closer to $26,000. Some of the payments came from our household account. Others came from a credit card I rarely checked because Adrian used it for work and reimbursed the balance from his salary. The reimbursements had become irregular 6 months earlier. I had noticed, but he said clients were paying slowly. By 8, I had made a spreadsheet. When Adrian came downstairs, I turned it toward him. He looked at the total and said I was double counting business expenses. Then separate them. He sat down but did not touch the laptop. I asked for the lease. He said it was at the apartment. I asked for the address. I already knew it, but I wanted to hear him say it. He refused. It is in the email. Apartment number. He stared at me. 6B. Who else has a key? No one. Who visits? Friends. What friends? People you don't know. I asked whether he was having an affair. He said no. I asked whether he had ever had sex with anyone else during our marriage. He said, not in the way you mean. There are sentences that become more disturbing because they are technically constructed. That was one of them. What way do I mean? He rubbed both hands across his face. He said the apartment was connected to a private social community, adults who met through invitation-only events. He said the gatherings involved clothing, performance, role-playing, and relationships that did not fit ordinary labels. He insisted everything was consensual. He said he had never considered it cheating because he separated physical intimacy from emotional commitment. I asked whether he had told me any of this before marrying me. No. Then how did I agree to that definition? He said he had tried to discuss being more adventurous when we were dating. I remembered one conversation. We had been together for 5 months. He asked whether I thought couples should be allowed complete privacy. I said everyone needed private thoughts and friendships. He had apparently converted that answer into permission for a second life. I told him I wanted to see the apartment. He said no. I said half the money paying for it was mine. He said the apartment contained private belongings belonging to other people. Then they should not be stored in a space funded from our joint account. He accused me of trying to humiliate him. I said humiliation had not yet entered the conversation. I only wanted facts. He said entering the apartment would violate the trust of everyone involved. I replied that he had protected strangers' trust by spending mine. Adrian left for work. He took his normal phone. 20 minutes later, I found the second one. It was inside the pocket of a winter coat at the back of the hall cupboard. The phone was locked. The screen showed 6 missed messages from someone saved as Mara. One preview read, "Are we still using the house on Thursday?" I stood in the hallway looking toward our living room. The house, not the apartment. I checked our shared calendar. I was scheduled to attend a 2-day conference on Thursday and Friday. Adrian knew I would be gone. I photographed the screen with my phone. Then I checked the coat pocket again. There was a silver key on a plain ring, no label. At noon, I drove to Mercer Street. The building was an old warehouse converted into expensive apartments. The lobby required a code. I waited outside until a delivery driver arrived, then followed him in. Apartment 6B was on the top floor. The silver key turned. For several seconds, I stood with my hand on the door. I knew entering would end whatever remained of Adrian's preferred version of events. Then I opened it. The apartment did not look like somewhere he worked. It was carefully furnished. Dark curtains, low lamps, a large sofa, a dining table for 8, a bedroom with mirrored wardrobe doors. There were no family photographs, no work samples, and no ordinary signs of a person living alone. One wall held shelves of masks, costume pieces, gloves, and accessories arranged like a private collection. Nothing was explicit. The meaning was still obvious. A clothing rail held outfits in several sizes. Some were theatrical. Others looked formal enough for a party, but unfamiliar enough that no one would wear them accidentally. A locked cabinet stood in the bedroom. I did not try to open it. On the kitchen counter was a printed cleaning schedule. Thursday, private booking, 6 guests. The time began 30 minutes after my train was due to leave for the conference. The organizer was listed as A. Vale. Adrian's middle name was Valentine. The second phone began ringing in my coat pocket. Mara, I let it stop. Then a message appeared. Your wife definitely gone overnight. I took photographs of the apartment, the schedule, the clothing rail, and the message. I left without moving anything. When I returned home, Adrian was waiting in the driveway. He knew. The apartment had a door sensor. He got out of his car before I had removed my seat belt. You went inside. Yes. You had no right. I paid for it. That does not give you the right to photograph people's belongings. You used our house too. His face went still. I showed him Mara's message. He said she had misunderstood. I showed him the Thursday booking. He said the house had only been discussed because the apartment's plumbing was being repaired. I asked whether strangers had ever been inside our home while I was away. He said, not many. Again, the answer was designed around scale rather than truth. I unlocked the front door and told him not to follow me until I had called someone. He said it was his house too. I replied, then you should understand why permission matters. He followed me inside. He admitted that 3 gatherings had taken place in our home. He said no one entered my office or bedroom. He said the events were discreet. He said the house was larger and more comfortable than the apartment. He said nothing had been damaged. I asked whether photographs had been taken. He hesitated. I asked again. He said perhaps a few, but no identifiable images of me existed. That was not the reassurance he thought it was. I told him to leave. He packed a bag and went to Mercer Street. That evening, he changed the password on the second phone remotely. He also removed my access to the credit card account. That was his first countermove. I found a second phone hidden in my husband's winter coat. One message asked whether they were still using the house on Thursday. I was scheduled to leave for a conference that morning. At the secret apartment, I found a cleaning schedule for 6 guests beginning 30 minutes after my train was due to depart. The following day, Adrian sent me an email. It was calm, detailed, and clearly written after speaking to someone. He said he had maintained a private identity before and during our marriage. He said the activities were legal, consensual, and unrelated to his love for me. He said he regretted concealing the financial cost, but denied that privacy itself constituted betrayal. Then he warned me that sharing photographs or identities connected to the apartment could expose me to legal action. The threat was subtle. He was reminding me that other people had reputations to protect. He was also establishing himself as the responsible adult protecting confidentiality. I replied with 3 questions: how much joint money had been spent? Had any activity occurred in our house? Had he exposed me to any health risk? He answered only the first. His estimate was $18,000. My records already showed more than 26. I contacted a solicitor. She advised me to preserve statements, change passwords on accounts solely in my name, and avoid publishing or distributing anything from the apartment. She also told me to get a health screening and document the results privately. That appointment was one of the most humiliating experiences of my life, not because of the clinic. The staff were professional. The humiliation came from writing unknown beside questions about my own marriage. I also contacted the cleaning company listed on the apartment schedule. I said I was reviewing invoices connected to a joint account. The manager would not discuss client details, but she confirmed the company had serviced both Mercer Street and our home address. Our home had been cleaned 4 times on weekday mornings. Each appointment occurred after I had traveled overnight. Adrian had not merely used the house 3 times, he had paid professionals to erase evidence afterward. I checked our smart doorbell archive. Most footage automatically deleted after 30 days. The remaining history covered 1 gathering. At 7:42 p.m., 4 people entered. 2 wore ordinary coats. 1 carried a large black case. The 4th person was my friend Nina. Nina had been one of my bridesmaids. She lived 10 minutes away and came to our house regularly. She had listened to me complain that Adrian was distant. She had once suggested that stress at work might explain his secrecy. In the footage, Adrian embraced her at the door, not romantically, familiarly, like someone arriving at an event she had attended before. I called her. She answered immediately. "Are you alone?" I asked. She was quiet for too long. You know, I said. Nina began crying. She said she had known for 2 years. Adrian introduced her to the private event community after she separated from her partner. She insisted she had never been involved with him directly. She said they were friends within that world. You were inside my house. Once. The camera shows once. The cleaner shows 4 events. I only came once. Did you know I had not agreed? She said Adrian told everyone that we had a private arrangement. He said I preferred not to discuss details, but accepted that he had another side to his life. Did that sound like me? He said you were very traditional. That wasn't my question. Nina said she believed him because he spoke about our marriage openly. He described me as emotionally important but uninterested in physical intimacy. He said I had set boundaries that allowed him to meet needs elsewhere as long as I never had to see it. None of that was true. Our marriage had not been perfect, but we had never agreed to outside relationships. We had never discussed separate partners. We had never discussed private events. Nina then told me something worse. Adrian had an online persona. Under the name Adrian Vale, he wrote essays and hosted private discussions about maintaining unconventional relationships while married to a controlling partner. I asked whether he named me. No. Did he describe me? She said the details were general. I found the account within an hour. The profile photograph showed Adrian in one of the masks from the apartment. His posts did not use my name. They included enough true details that anyone close to us would recognize me. He wrote about a wife who monitored spending, rejected intimacy, and used financial dependence to maintain control. He described secretly creating a separate space where he could be authentic. He wrote that concealment was necessary because honesty would provoke punishment. The apartment had not simply hidden his behavior. It had supported a public narrative in which I was the reason secrecy was necessary. Some posts were older than the lease. He had begun preparing that explanation years earlier. One essay mentioned a humiliating incident at a friend's birthday dinner. I remembered the dinner. Adrian had wanted to leave early. I asked him to stay for dessert because the friend had made it herself. In his version, I publicly controlled when he was allowed to leave. Another post described me refusing to let him spend his own money. The real argument concerned a £3,000 charge he had described as office furniture. The furniture was now in the Mercer Street apartment. He had taken ordinary marital disagreements and rewritten them as evidence of oppression. The comments praised him for surviving me. Several users said they admired his courage. One person asked when he would finally leave. Adrian replied, "When the financial structure is safe." I downloaded everything. Then I checked the ownership records for Mercer Creative Holdings. The company had 2 directors. Adrian was one, Nina was the other. I called her again. She said the company existed only to sign the lease discreetly. She had agreed because Adrian said using his personal name might expose both of us. Both of us. He said you knew about the apartment but didn't want your name connected. He had used my supposed consent differently depending on the audience. To participants, I was a controlling wife who tolerated the arrangement. To Nina, I was a cautious spouse protecting privacy. To me, the apartment was first a work project, then a studio, then a harmless private space. Every version kept him protected. Nina agreed to meet me at a cafe. She brought copies of the company documents. Adrian had funded the initial deposit through a transfer from a personal savings account. The account had once held money from the sale of a flat he owned before our marriage. That part was his, but after 4 months, the personal account ran low. He began using our joint funds. Nina said she questioned him. He told her I had agreed to contribute because the events were beginning to produce income. What income? She looked surprised. You don't know? The apartment hosted paid private workshops. Nothing was advertised publicly. Guests paid membership fees and event contributions. Adrian said the money covered rent and supplies. Nina showed me the payment ledger. Over 11 months, the company received more than £38,000. The apartment should have funded itself. Instead, Adrian continued taking money from our accounts. I asked where the income went. Nina did not know. She had never seen the company bank account. Adrian managed it. The secret apartment was not only a concealed expense, it was a concealed business, and the business was profitable. My friend admitted she had known about my husband's secret identity for 2 years. Then she showed me the apartment company documents. She was listed as the second director because my husband claimed I had approved the arrangement. The company had collected £38,000 in private event fees, yet he had still taken more than £26,000 from our joint accounts. I returned to the solicitor with the ledger and company records. She recommended a forensic review before I confronted Adrian again. Our joint finances were more exposed than I understood. Adrian had used the company credit card for hotels, travel, clothing, photography, and payments to individuals listed only by initials. Some expenses may have been legitimate within the business. Others were obviously personal. The company had also paid him monthly consulting fees. He had moved those fees into an investment account I did not know existed. The balance was nearly £42,000. His online comment about leaving when the financial structure was safe stopped, sounding philosophical. He had been building an exit fund. The apartment, the events, and the hidden income all supported a future that did not include me. I did not know whether he intended to leave soon. I knew he had made leaving easier for himself while using our joint money to preserve our visible life. The solicitor advised me to act before Adrian could move more assets. I transferred my salary into an individual account. I froze our joint credit card. I changed the direct debit for the mortgage so my documented share came from my account. Then I filed for a formal financial disclosure as part of a legal separation. Adrian called within an hour of receiving the papers. "You said you wanted answers. I found them. You could have asked me." "I did." He said the investment account contained business income and therefore did not belong to me. I said a court could decide. He accused Nina of stealing confidential records. I said the records belonged to a company she legally directed. Then he made his strongest counterattack. He said he would provide evidence that I had known about his private identity. He had messages where I encouraged him to be himself. He had emails where I said I trusted him to maintain friendships separately. He had photographs from costume parties we attended together years earlier. He said those records showed awareness and acceptance. They showed nothing of the kind, but they were true records, detached from their context and arranged into a false story. It was the same method he used online. I told him I would not debate edited fragments. He said, "You are going to make this much uglier than it needs to be." I replied, "You made it tidy by hiding it." The legal process moved slowly. Adrian remained in the Mercer Street apartment. I remained in the house. He requested access to collect clothing and work equipment. My solicitor arranged a time while another person was present. He walked through each room as though inspecting damage. In his office, he removed 2 hard drives and a locked case. I asked whether either contained images from our home. He said that was none of my concern. I blocked the doorway. The observer told both of us to remain calm. I said Adrian could take his property after confirming that no recording from our house remained in his possession. He refused. The solicitor later obtained an agreement preserving all digital material until it could be reviewed. The review found photographs and short videos from the gatherings. Most showed adults in costume, posing, or talking. Nothing explicit appeared in the files submitted. Our home was still identifiable. The fireplace, staircase, kitchen, and artwork were visible. One image showed a framed photograph of me and Adrian on a shelf behind the group. My face was small but clear. The image had been posted privately under the title, "Host and Absent Hostess." That phrase damaged me more than anything else. I had been turned into part of the setting. My absence had become a joke inside my own home. The files also showed that Adrian had recorded promotional material in the apartment. He presented himself as separated. He said he maintained a respectful friendship with his former partner. The recordings were made 8 months before I discovered the utility bill. He had announced the end of our marriage to strangers while continuing to share my bed, plan renovations, and discuss holidays. When confronted through the solicitors, Adrian said separated referred to emotional independence, not legal status. No one accepted that explanation. Nina resigned from the company and gave a complete account. Several participants said Adrian had told them I knew about the gatherings. One said he introduced the house as property he retained jointly with an ex-partner. I was not yet his ex-partner. He had simply begun using the language early. The financial settlement did not give me everything. Some company funds were legitimately earned after operating costs. Some of the initial investment came from Adrian's premarital property, but the joint withdrawals were documented. So were the hidden reimbursements and the home used without my knowledge. I recovered a significant portion of the money. The house had to be sold. Neither of us could afford to buy out the other while paying legal fees. That was the consequence I resented most. Adrian created a second home for himself and caused me to lose the first one. The Mercer Street Company dissolved during the proceedings. Nina said the community continued elsewhere without him. Several people stopped attending after learning how he had described our marriage. Others defended him. They said private identity was complicated. They said conventional marriage could force people into secrecy. That may be true in some marriages. It was not the problem in mine. Adrian did not hide because I rejected an honest request. He hid because he never made one. He wanted the stability, money, and public respectability of our marriage while privately behaving as though the marriage had already ended. Our divorce became final 14 months after the electricity email. I moved into a smaller flat. For the first few weeks, every unfamiliar noise from the hallway made me check the door. I changed the locks even though no one else had ever held a key. Nina and I did not remain friends. She apologized repeatedly. I believed she had been deceived about some things. I also believed she accepted explanations that protected a world she wanted access to. Both could be true. Adrian continued using his private name. I know because someone sent me a screenshot 6 months after the divorce. His new profile described him as a man rebuilding after escaping a financially abusive marriage. I did not respond publicly. I sent the screenshot to my solicitor and kept it with the rest of the records. The impulse to correct every lie had exhausted me. People who wanted his version would find a way to believe it. People who examined the dates could see what happened. The utility account began 11 months before I discovered it. The online persona began years earlier. The investment account grew while he told me we could not afford new cabinets. The gatherings took place in my home while I traveled for work. Those were not interpretations, they were records. I kept one thing from the old house, the framed photograph that appeared behind the group. It was taken on our 5th anniversary. For a while, I considered throwing it away. Instead, I removed the photograph and kept the frame. It now holds a picture of me standing outside my new flat with the keys in my hand. There is no hidden room, no second address, no private company attached to the electricity. The flat is smaller than the house I lost, but everyone inside it has permission to be there. At this point, that feels less like a limitation than a luxury.
You've been listening to Low Light Stories, original fiction for late-night listening. New stories are added regularly, so subscribe if you'd like to hear the next one. Thanks for listening.